Back. I took a bit of a vacation today, or not today, this week. Went to get a hotel room for a few days, just kind of relax and wind before the semester started. And I figured before class starts tomorrow, I might want to, one, give my first impression on two different games, and two, and I'm going to do this first since it might take longer. Saw the Expendables, or the Expendables 2, on Wednesday, and I'm a fan of the series. I grew up in the 80s, well, over half of it, but I grew up with the 80s action flicks, Total Recall, Terminator, Running Man, Rambo, Dolph Lundgren playing Frank Castle, which was absolutely pathetic. No one wants to see Dolph Lundgren naked in the sewer meditating. If you do, get the fuck out now. There's the door. Why are you like that? I'm actually pointing out the door. But anyway, but I loved the first Expendables. It was a fun, over-the-top, cheesy action movie, and, well, you had an all-star cast. You had Stallone. You had Bruce Willis. You had Jason Statham. I mean, I can't name an action movie I liked him in, but he's in it. Yeah, there's the Transporter. I hated the Transporter. Oh god, what's the one where he dies, or Crank. Yeah, hated Crank. The only good thing about Crank is the fact that every 5 minutes you can remember the line, "I'm Jeff Chilios," because that's pretty much all he ever says in trailers that you can understand. He was good in, I think it was Snatch that he was in. But, anyway, I'm digressing. You had Terry Crews. I mean, the second best spokesman next to Isaiah Mustafa, making sure he's not going to kill me, playing essentially himself, except with a rocket launcher instead of a football. And Randy Couture playing this kind of dimwit. And they managed to take over. And they managed to stop the bad guy, and they made a cohesive unit. It felt right. Especially with scuzzy-looking Eric Roberts as the bad guy. And my biggest fear with this one was, you have Jean-Claude Van Damme playing the bad guy, and Van Damme likes to show everyone up in everything he's in. And that's no different here. And that is like my big detracting point is Van Damme. Because it just feels like every time he's on camera he's going, "I'm here. Look at me. I'm Van Damme." Why am I doing a bad East Indian accent? But no, seriously, he has this persona of not being the bad guy, but just being famous and being there, and everybody's there to see him. I was there to see him get his ass kicked by Sylvester Stallone. And I was disappointed in that. Yeah, it happens, but you blink and you miss it, compared to what they were building up. Had I not known about the build-up, I would have been fine. But they're building up to this big, huge, epic fight. Over. The fight with Jason Statham's character and the second command of Van Damme's bad guy, group, was about twice as long. And it shouldn't have been, because I was kind of thinking to myself, I know what I would do if there's a helicopter involved. And sure enough, there's a helicopter involved in the scene. That's where I got it from. But yeah, I think the best fight scene would still have to be Jet Li. And that's another disappointment about the movie, is Jet Li's in it for a total of 5 minutes. In the first movie, there's a fight scene between Dolph Lundgren and Jet Li. And they keep on building up that Dolph Lundgren doesn't like Jet Li's character, or vice versa. And because he keeps on calling Jet Li's character Yin Yang Short. Well, they're fighting in this factory, and Jet Li sees a low-hanging ceiling and goes under it. And every time Dolph Lundgren tries to raise his head, he hits his head, or he gets knocked back, or he goes forward too fast and hits his head. Ingenious. The first fight scene with Jet Li, ingenious. And then, by the way, I might not come back. Bye. And he goes away. That's not right. Especially when it felt to me the only reason they kicked or not kicked him out, but the reason he left was because one of the new people they put in was Chinese and a female. And it just felt like, okay, now, what? You can't have 2 Asian people on the team? How many white people do you have on the team? What are you going to do next movie when you get Denzel Washington or someone to play, or Billy D. Williams to be on the Expendables? Terry Crews leaves? Because I'll tell you right now, I ain't watching it beyond Terry Crews. The guy's hilarious. Now, I kind of ranted about what's bad in the movie, but the movie's not bad. It's disappointing, but it's not bad. Especially, it's disappointing compared to the first one. But, there's a lot more good to it. Like, again, the chemistry between all the actors, except for Van Damme. There's a scene towards the beginning of the movie where Stallone tells Terry Crews' character to give Schwarzenegger a gun. Terry Crews gives him this look, goes, "Alright, I'll give you this gun, but if I don't get it back, consider your ass terminated." There's jokes like that throughout the entire movie. Oh god, especially Chuck Norris. His character allegedly got bit by a cobra. Think about it, it's Chuck Norris. But it felt cohesive. I honestly think some of the impact was lost on the plot, though. Obviously, if you read the IMDb synopsis, one of the characters dies. And while they build the character up, after he's killed, it's kind of like, okay, he was just a MacGuffin. Well, wasn't, but it felt like they were better, or the same without him than as they were with the character. And it made absolutely no sense as to why they just introduced a new character to kill him off. Honestly, I would have killed off 1 of 2 people, and I'm not saying who that is. Not because I don't want either of them knocking on my door trying to kick my ass, but because while I could see it, I don't think the fans would like it, and I can't disagree with it. But I don't think there's enough impact of the death for the audience to really feel for the Expendables. But, that being said, the action in the movie, it's a turn-off-your-brain film. And it doesn't try to be anything else. And that's what makes it good. Not great, because, like I mentioned before, everything else. But it is a good movie. Definitely worth at least a trip to the cheap theaters or renting it. And if you're a fan of the series, buying both of them when they come, or this one comes out on Blu-ray, DVD, VHS, or VCD, whatever's going to happen next in the next 20 years, you get the point. I'm rambling now, and I shouldn't be. I don't have much time left. The doobly-doo. I'm not going to die. Don't picture it, please. Don't pick. I saw you in Albuquerque. Anyway, I'm ranting. Now, that being said, on my vacation, I kind of timed something wrong. I got 2 games that I'm going to try to do quick first impressions of. And the reason I timed this wrong is I got the better of the 2 games, in my opinion, the day before leaving for vacation. I couldn't exactly bring my PS3. But, and I got the one I don't like as much during the vacation. Try to guess which is which. If you thought I would like Transformers more, no. And I'm as floored as you are. I liked the first Darksiders, but it didn't sit well with me. I thought the controls were really clunky, and I'm not a big RPG guy. I think that was the big deal, the controls and that. This is still an RPG, but it's leaps and bounds better than the first game. War is kind of just this dry, serious guy. Death isn't. Death hates everything. I think my favorite scene is he's talking to this person. They say that they're guided into the woods by some other guy, and you have dealings with this other guy. The guy's a dick. And Death looks at the person and goes, "You let him guide you? Wow, I was way off on my opinion of you." And it just... These people are like twice his size. Or you could challenge one of the store owners to a fight, and it's one of the toughest battles in the beginning of the game. You have to, like, get this big, huge weapon to even defeat him. And he's still talking down to them like, "I'm Death, bitch. I'll kick your ass." It makes his character a lot more interesting than War's, "I'm noble and I'm screwed over. What do you mean the seals weren't broken?" And really, have a personality. I know you're War, but try to be chaotic. Don't just be, "I am a blank slate. Mold me to your whim." Honestly, I think that would have been a lot more interesting anyway if you could, but you can't. But, a big thing about Darksiders 2 is the combat and the climbing. Everything is a lot smoother in it. I think Joe Madureira did the design of this one too, like he did the first character design. It feels so much more complete in Darksiders 2 because you don't have a lot of textures where it's just lines for scales and then nothing else. Everything feels like it belongs in the environment. Not so much with Darksiders 1. Again, Darksiders 1, not a bad game, but like, so far Darksiders 2 is a lot better. Now, Fall of Cybertron. Everybody is raving this game. First one, if you ask me, is leaps and bounds better. I know I've been saying leaps and bounds, but oh well. The big problem I have with this is the first game. Kind of a reboot, but based on the cartoons. Bumblebee, my favorite Transformer, and I think that's what pisses me off. Got the movie treatment. You start off playing as him. He gets knocked down, and you hear Ratchet say, "Well, his voice chip is still crushed. Nothing new there." And right then I turned red. I'm like, "Michael Bay, you son of a bitch, I'll find you and I'll choke you with your own explosive intestines." I imagine since it's Michael Bay, everything would explode with him. So, yeah. And I thought that would be the thing that really irked me the most. Second level, you're playing as Optimus Prime. Several points in the game, since there's no cover system at all, 4 hits I was dead, and I didn't know who killed me. And I know that seems like, okay, you're new to the game, but think about it this way. You're told, pretty much throughout the game, to just run behind walls as cover. But that's it. You don't latch onto the wall, you don't do anything, and honestly, I cannot figure out why they didn't do it with this game, because it calls for it. It really does. And then, in the section where I kept on getting killed over and over, there's no cover. You're out in the middle of a blank battlefield, having to kill this gunship, and then you have a massive squad, well, actually pretty much a battalion of enemies, ready to kill you. And you can't do anything about it until you kill the gunship. That's dumb. That is absolutely dumb. And I gotta say, the storyline, okay, yeah, you have the Fall of Cybertron. Did the ship you're trying to get into really need to come to life? Really? That's your big twist in the plot? First one, it was the Dark Energon. This one, holy crap, my ship is alive! You! Lead us to salvation! Thing that can crush me. It feels hackneyed. It really does. And the gameplay is a step back from War for Cybertron. And it's sad because War for Cybertron built up to this. I mean, it does the shooting right. but I don't like everything else about it. I'm crazy, I know. I'm crazy. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. I gotta get some rest before I gotta take pictures in a party in a department store. Don't ask. I will see you guys later.